Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is the 8th of November, 2018. I'm Roy Potter. Welcome to the Potter Expositor. As you can tell by the title, I'm not telling you anything you probably don't already know. The news is, of course, that Jeff Sessions, he gave his resignation letter, but it was at the request of President Trump, which of course means that President Trump basically fired him. And we also saw, if you were paying attention, that Acosta has been Acosta. I called this Accoster Acosta because that's what Acosta is, and I don't mean just the way he treated the mic lady last night by pushing her away, her arm away. I'm not sure it was a karate chop, but it was certainly inappropriate for him to do what he did. He's not in control there, of course. The White House is and the president. But at any rate, he has now had his White House credentials revoked. I wish they would just do it for all of CNN, MSNBC, all of those people. But I don't know if this is a warning to everyone. Frankly, all of these punishments that are happening, in my estimation, are coming too little and too late. If you've come to this broadcast for a cheerleading session or patting ourselves on the back for the election or anything like that, you're not going to get it here today. No, frankly, I am quite disgusted, and I'm going to go over the reasons why. Of course, none of that should surprise any of you who have watched me for any length of time. I'm going to tell you how I feel, whether you like it or not, and I figure that the principles are more important than the personalities involved. Not that I dislike the personalities necessarily, but it's long been said on this channel that two things are important to know. Well, more than that, but the slogan on my channel that the intelligence community is our most dangerous domestic enemy and continues so to be. And people just refuse to call that out, including the President of the United States, which is a real source of problem for me. And the fact that rhetoric is not being followed by actions on the ground. I understand all the political reasons why. I understand the difficulties and all that. But we're going to go through some things today. And hopefully you'll understand my concerns. So again, Acosta has lost his White House credentials. A disciplinary action that was long overdue. Sessions was finally fired. A disciplinary action long overdue. And this new, I guess he was the chief of staff of Jeff Sessions there at the Department of Justice, is going to replace him for now. His name is Matthew Whitaker. And apparently he said that he would, some time ago, I guess it was 2016 or so, he would prosecute Hillary. Not that that's going to happen, by the way. His willingness doesn't mean that that'll happen. But his willingness is important. And that the Mueller investigation has gone way outside the tracks, way off the rails, and should be stopped. Rosenstein, by default, will now be out, of course. He should never have been there anyway. He's both a witness and a prosecutor in the case, basically. Things they get away with. And the problem is it's been allowed to happen, and it never had to be. Now, before I go any further, am I attacking Trump? No. I can still consider him a neophyte in the political realm to some extent. He helped a lot of these people when they were looking for elections and those types of things, and I think he really did think that they would be there to help turn the republic around. But he was sadly mistaken if he actually thought that way. And we've seen nothing from the Republican Party but failure after failure after failure. We've seen nothing from the Republican Party but acquiescence to the leftist Marxists and the Democratic Party. Why? Because they're the same people. They're just playing two sides of the same coin. And I've talked about that. Most of you understand the left-right paradigm, the false left-right paradigm. They're all in it for the game. And the game is to steal and rob from you and to rule over you with an iron fist and to subjugate you. That's what it's about. It's no longer about protecting the American people, and it hasn't been for a long time. So am I happy about the election? Well, I'm happy that Supposedly, the Republicans picked up a few seats in the Senate, but look what happened in the House. And there are those who are saying, well, this is historical, this happens midterms and all that. I don't find that as an easy excuse to swallow. I do not, considering what should have happened. Now, President Trump signed that order, I guess it was in April or May, somewhere in there, about election fraud and that they go after it. I have no doubt that there was election fraud this time in a massive scale. We know that many of our states, their election systems are actually controlled. The digital encryption keys are controlled by foreign governments, foreign corporations. How did this ever happen? Michael Chertoff is involved. Mitt Romney is involved. I'm going to say some more about him here in a few minutes. Why do we let these things happen? Because are Americans this lazy that we can't even take care of our own backyard? We got to give it to the next door neighbors to take care of us so we can go off and do our bullshit? Take advantage of our neighbors, take advantage of this person, that person, not do our job, pretend like we're something, insist the red carpet rolled out for us, and then we spit on it and defecate on it. Yeah, I'm in a bad mood this morning. My Republican insider, he knew not to get hold of me. I could not stand to watch what I saw coming, despite Bill Still's, and I love Bill, but he was talking about, well, it looks like, there really is going to be a red wave, and that there were other people saying the same thing, all these statistics. And I'm going, you know what? Boy, this is over-optimistic by a long shot. So I went out camping Monday night. Yes, I did come in and vote on Tuesday, but then I went right back out and went back to camping and was out there until yesterday. My Republican insider texted me and said, well, I predicted, this is him talking, I predicted that we'd get 55 or 56 seats in the Senate. It looks like we're going to have 55. I noticed he didn't say anything about the House. Now remember, I was not listening to the news. I already could tell where it was going. And so he avoided that to try to get me to perk up a little bit. I just wrote him back and said, sorry, I'm out camping. I don't have any internet service. All I can do is phone calls and texts, and that's iffy where I was. As a matter of fact, I made a short film video about some of my exploits. I might use that as a break, at some point in time, just to show you that portion of Wyoming. It was in the high desert area northwest of Evanston. But at any rate. So, with that little introduction, no, I am not happy at all. The Republican Party, of course, again, I know the left-right paradigm is false. I know that. But according to what they say and what they do, they have not only catastrophically failed us, they have betrayed us and President Trump. No, I'm not going to throw President Trump in. There are some people who are saying, well, he's all part of the subterfuge and all that. I can't swallow that, seeing what they've done to him. Calling his situation yesterday in the White House when he went after Acosta. And of course, he had fired, I think he'd already fired Sessions by that point. Trump needs to get on the offensive like he did yesterday. He's got to stop taking this crap from these people. And at any rate, I can't believe when I see what happens to Trump that's theater or whatever. I'm sorry, folks, those of you who feel that way. I'm sorry, that just doesn't compute to me. I look at it more like he really anticipated things would be different than they are. But he should have known that early on. Certainly by the time Jeff Sessions recused himself from the Russian thing. And there are all kinds of machinations going on about, this is another part of the plan and all this crap. Since the Democrats are now in control of the House, the Sessions doesn't have to be there anymore. All these crazy loops and stuff. Let me tell you, okay, Sessions was bought off and used by the Clintons and the Bushes and planted in the Trump campaign to derail President Trump. That was his entire purpose, and he did it in a magnificent way. Yes, Sessions is very good at what he does, but unfortunately it wasn't for the good of the Republic. It was for the good of the left, for the Clintons, for the Bushes, etc., etc. Okay, I'm going to play a clip here. A lot of you have already seen the clips that I'm going to put out today, but I want you to hear it. Now, this first one, you'll know what it is probably. I want you to know, I wish these people were correct. I really, really do. And they've been in the political game and in the news game and in the reporting game, the journalism game for a long time. But I think they're deliberately trying to sugarcoat this thing. And so I want you to know I don't agree with them 100%. I wish I could. I wish they were correct. I wish this thing was right. But you notice it's always, well, we didn't do it this time, but we'll get it next election. Oh, we're going to get it next term. Oh, we're going to get it next year. Time's running out. Let me play this for you.
New York Times bestseller, The Russia Hoax, Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett, also the author of The Deep State, another New York Times bestseller, Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz, Sarah Carter, investigative reporter, Fox News contributor. Where's your book? How come you don't have a book?
Oh, I'm going to have a book, Sean. You know it, too.
All right. You know, I know that almost immediately this recusal. Greg Jarrett, you probably have been the single most outspoken person that Sessions has to go. What do you think of the interim attorney general? And do you think he's going to recuse? God help us.
No.
Or will the president now appoint a full-time replacement?
Well, now that there's no recusal because Sessions is gone, the acting attorney general, Matt Whitaker, can now preside over the special counsel case, and he should. What the media didn't point out today is that Rod Rosenstein should recuse himself. He's both a witness and a prosecutor in the same case. Whether it's Whitaker in the end, who's the permanent AG, or I would recommend Representative John Ratcliffe of the House Judiciary Committee, former top official at DOJ, former U.S. attorney, those individuals, Ratcliffe or Whitaker, I think, would bring to justice those in the Department of Justice and the FBI who abuse their positions of power to target Donald Trump without evidence and to spy on the Trump campaign with fabricated evidence.
And Jason, let me go to you. You know Whitaker. We've known his work now for a long time. And the president was very clear, those 302s, the Gang 8 information, those FISA warrant applications may now all be released. I also would say that probably investigations into Hillary and all these other instances, FISA abuse, lying to FISA courts, abuse of some of the powerful tools of intelligence might now be on the table.
Yeah, look, Senator Sessions then became Attorney General Sessions. He was a revered member of the Republican Party, and I wish him nothing but the best. But when he became the Attorney General, I got to tell you, members of Congress became very dissatisfied with him because he did not listen up the documents, did not respond to subpoenas, and did not give people like myself, when I was the chairman of the Oversight Committee, the documents you wanted. Jim Jordan, Mark Meadows, Trey Gowdy, John Ratcliffe, they can't do their job unless they have their documents. So now that there's new leadership in place, I think there is an expectation that those things do get loosened up. And by the way, I agree with Greg. I do hope that the President Trump appoints John Ratcliffe. I think he's the best person for the job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sarah, now the exoneration before investigation, the real Russian dossier, that can now be investigated by the new Attorney General. Democrats want a lot of investigations. There's a lot of fertile ground, and we know crimes were committed.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that they're going to be looking at is also all the unmaskings. How was the intelligence community weaponized, particularly, and how the FBI handled this investigation into President Trump? I mean, there are so many avenues that can be looked at right now. And we know, based on what President Trump said today, that there is a strong possibility, Sean, that these documents will be declassified. The American public deserves to know what was going on. And I've also been hearing that indictments may be around the corner. So there's a lot more information that's going to come out in the near future. I think the president did the right thing. He waited till after the midterms, and it was expected. And the president has every right to say it's over, Jeff Sessions. And, you know, most of the time it would have happened anyways. It's been 2 years. It's time for Jeff Sessions to move on.
if I was some of these top DOJ, FBI officials, I think I'd be very nervous tonight about what could be coming. You all agree with that? Real quick.
The law enforcers became the lawbreakers. They should now be held accountable.
Jason, will that
After
happen?
the Inspector General report, it is crystal clear that is a Department of Justice that's in chaos, and they need new leadership to straighten the
10
ship
seconds,
out.
Sarah. Is it going to happen?
That's what I was just going to say. It is going to happen. It will happen, Sean.
All right.
Okay, like I said, a lot of encouraging talk, but I'm afraid I'm not 100% behind their positions. I wish I could say that I am. So basically, we lost the House, the ability to try to stop a lot of this nonsense. And think about this. All of this that Nunes and Jordan and those folks had worked on to protect Trump and to protect the Republic against the witch hunts that are going on and the corruption in the FBI, the DOJ, the State Department, the CIA, etc. All of the work that they did is not just thwarted. It's been file 13. It's been crumpled up and thrown in the trash can. That's the thanks that they get for putting themselves in mortal danger from these leftist Marxists. You don't believe that? Let me play you another clip that happened last night. Tucker Carlson's home. This is being spurned on by the likes of Waters, Pelosi, Feinstein, Schumer, Nadler, Obama, Clinton, Holder, Lynch, on and on. And I told you that this was going to get worse. Here we go.
Tucker Carlson, you're outside your home to protest of fascism and racism. You promote hate that's led to an ideology that has led to thousands of people dying by the hands of the police, to trans women being murdered in the streets. Your policies promote hate, and we might even know where you sleep at night.
Mailbox, synagogue.
We know where you sleep at night.
We know where you sleep at night. Tucker Carlson.
In case you didn't figure that out, that's at Tucker Carlson's home, the Fox News commentator. Those are Antifa people outside his home saying, we know where you are, we know where you sleep, you'll never be safe. Too little, too late from our executive branch, thinking that they could negotiate with evil. And you cannot. You cannot. Okay, so yeah, a lot of great governors races, local races, things like that, a lot of Republicans. It was basically a red wave in the local and state elections with a few minor problems, which of course is a good thing as far as getting those folks in there. But not if we're going to see the same thing that we've seen from the Republicans in the Congress over the last 2 years. Really longer than that. So the big disappointments, of course, were we lost the House and all of the work of Nunes and Jordan, etc., who are now going to be hounded just like Tucker Carlson, even by their own peers, because the leftist Marxists are dangerous. And nobody wants to get that through their head. They keep pretending like they can fix this political split, and it's an impossibility. What's the answer? Well, you have to prosecute these people. Well, we'll wait and see if that happens. The other disappointment I mentioned a few minutes ago, the Mormon people, and that's who did it, the Mormon people put Mitt Romney into the Senate. This is a very bad, bad deal. Mitt Romney, I don't know if you remember what he did to Trump, but he backstabbed him. He was also one of the authors in Massachusetts, they started actually, of the Obamacare. It was really Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney is a snake. He's a New World Order dude, and he does not have, despite all of his rhetoric, the interests of the American people and the constitutional republic at heart. He has taken oaths that are contrary to the sustainability, and I shouldn't even use that word, but let me use the sustenance, the life of the constitutional republic of the United States of America, directly opposed to it. Mitt Romney will be a problem in 2020, if not before. He is not a Republican. He is a statist, a deep statist, probably, at least a statist, and he's a tyrannical, authoritarian, passive-aggressive. He looks like a nice guy who wouldn't hurt anybody. Nothing could be further from the truth. He owns part of the election systems, he and his son, that have probably caused some problems in this election. And the company that they own and the machines that they own that do that are run by foreign corporations and foreign governments. AIM did a real good cover on this yesterday or the day before, American Intelligence Media. They had Michael McKibben on, who is, if any of you know who that is, he's very well versed in the digital virtual world, and he explained all this. Their researchers have found these connections. Ladies and gentlemen, you are not in control. Even the DHS, it works through these foreign places, sort of like a Five Eyes network in the virtual world. We've been betrayed in so many ways that you can't even keep track of it. And that's why I can't lay all the blame at President Trump, although his failure, and I have to say that, his failure to act earlier on is now resulting in things like this with Tucker Carlson, etc. His supporters are taking it on the chin, and they're going to continue taking it on the chin even worse if these people aren't stopped. And when I say these people, I don't think you can round up every little Tom, Dick, and Harry, Susie and Jane on the street who's doing these things. No. But you can go after people like Maxine Waters, Pelosi, Holder, Obama, Clinton, Brennan, etc. Why? Okay, the midterms are over, and we've seen the first plug pulled and Sessions is gone, right? So everybody's saying, woohoo, Trump's on the warpath now, he's going to do it. And I was proud of him the way he stood up against Acosta and those other goons in the White House press conference yesterday. But that's not enough. Will he have the support of this Matthew Whitaker to really move ahead? And I understand that there's a guy by the name of Radcliffe that might actually be the next AG. I don't know how that'll work out. All I know is no more damn deep state swamp creatures better be going in to that administration. This is a disaster. If that keeps happening, it's a disaster. We can't allow Trump to make that mistake again, and if he does, it means that maybe he really doesn't know what he's doing. I'm sorry to hurt your feelings, or maybe that he's trapped and he can't do anything else. Whatever. My Republican friend who's probably watching is probably pulling his hair out. But this is serious business. Okay. So Mitt Romney. You know, considering how he's conducted himself over the years, the only thing that got him into the Utah U.S. Senate seat was his association with the Mormon Church. That's all that did it. I haven't been to any of those church services or anything to do in their little meetings and stuff on all. They have tons of meetings that they go to and all this. And it used to be that they wouldn't talk politics in church because you can lose your 501c status, unless, of course, it's supporting the status quo. So you can bet that Mitt Romney was really talked up. Matter of fact, when I'd go down to Salt Lake, I'd see some evidence of that. This is not going to bode well for the United States or for President Trump. Okay, it's not. Republicans have refused to drain the swamp. President Trump hesitated. I'm not saying he's refused, but he's hesitated. And he's given them more power. He's placed more power in their hands. And as I've said all along, he must take action. He must take the necessary action, as distasteful as it may be. We're going to do it next election, 2020. That's when we'll actually fix everything, is in 2020. Sorry, my friend and my Republican insider in California, I see no evidence that that's really going to happen. Not if the process doesn't start today. And now with the House loss, with the information that Nunes and all them had, and I understand the difficulties of declassifying the FISA and the FBI, DOJ documents, etc. I understand that, but look where we are now. Now, Trump has said, of course, when Maxine Waters and Nadler and Green and all these guys say, we're going to go forward, we're going to go into and Schiff, we're going to go into his cell phone stuff, all this nonsense. They're not going to help the country move forward. No, they've got a vendetta against President Trump. That's why I say I really can't see him being in their little play here, this theatrics. I don't believe that. I don't. But he has hesitated. He lost the initiative, and he's trying to get it back with the firing of Sessions, who was a mole in his administration. And I'm sure there are more. But that was a very critical position that really screwed things up, and everybody knows that now. But President Trump said if they're going to go after him and his people on these little minor things and investigate and dig, well, he's going to go after them for violating classification laws and regulations. Well, that should have happened already, President Trump, and look where it's taken us because you didn't. I realize they were threatening President Trump with obstruction of justice, which is absurd. Probably also, don't influence elections negatively. There are all kinds of reasons that he was given not to do that. Well, there's no time to waste now, President Trump. Got to get belly up to the bar and give this information out so the American people can see it. You haven't got till 2020, and I've said that for a long time. Okay, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover today. I'm going to take a little break, and then we're going to have a chat, okay? This will be my last one on Venice and Verona. This one actually isn't on Venice. While I was in Italy, I mean, I could show you things in Rome and in Naples and in Pisa, where the Leaning Tower of Pisa is, and a lot of other places. But I've just chosen a few. And this one, Venice, is kind of my favorite, of course, for a lot of reasons. But I'm going to show you this short tour of Verona, Italy. It's about 5 minutes long, I think. It might be longer than that. But I've kind of gotten in the habit of doing this. It kind of breaks, the monotony of some of my presentations, and it also gets my demeanor cooled down a little bit and gives you guys a little chance to go get a drink or whatever, too. Again, this is from 2002. You'll see my wife at the time, Carol. She's kind of talking a lot here. I didn't really do this with her as a memory or anything, as a remembrance or a memorial or anything like that. It's just that she's very well versed, very intelligent, very well spoken, and she's easy on the eyes. Okay, so at any rate, let's play this, and you'll see Verona, Italy here. Verona, by the way, is where Shakespeare wrote about Romeo and Juliet. It's the same city. Okay, all right. So here we go.
Okay, where are we, honey?
We are on the number 8 train going to Verona from Venice.
Yeah, isn't that neat? I haven't left yet, but there are the trains. We'll take some more pictures here in a little bit. Now,
We're in Verona, but I'm not exactly sure what this is.
it's an ancient Colosseum, Roman Coliseum there. And there's part of that castle right there, and it goes, that building's been added, but you can see it right there. And it goes on for probably another quarter-mile down there.
But this building is falling apart. Look at it.
And we're walking right up to it now. These stones are probably 1,000 years old.
Goodness, look at this. Holy mackerel.
Wow, this goes all the way around.
This is the way
We
it
gotta
is
go
today,
on,
set up.
yeah, pretty much. Amazing, isn't it? Yeah, they still use this.
They use it for entertainment.
This is where
The guy would.
little dungeons and stuff down in there. The Colosseum, but what's really breathtaking is the countryside around here. You can really tell you're in Italy. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Say ciao.
Ciao. Unbelievable. There's the old Roman battlement or whatever it is, medieval battlement, and then it goes on down here. Like I said, it's real long. It goes from there, it comes on down. There's a bit of it right there, and it continues on. It's a whole city. It's a walled city. You can see it go on down.
It sure is.
It's a walled city. Verona was an old walled city, and there's the wall. There's
Medieval days.
in the medieval days, there's one of the watchtowers, and then it goes on around. So this whole area was walled at one time. Amazing. Come up real close on the hillside here. Let you see all of the neat looking sights. Yeah, this is an old walled city of Verona. That's exactly what it was. And we're inside the arena right now. You can tell you're in Italy. Beautiful places. Some of the most beautiful stuff I've ever seen. Another little square in Verona. Looks like an old Roman bath here. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Hot water that was underneath, yeah.
And they left the pavement open like this so you
So
could
you can
see
see
down
what's
inside there.
underneath. So this is all built over top of those ancient ruins right there.
See underneath? This is
Verona. Yep. And there's the wall way up on the hill up there in a strategic spot so that the enemy couldn't take the high ground. They protect it. Way up there. What a fascinating place.
Okay, so no more Italy in the future. We'll probably do Japan or, like I say, Bahamas or something like that. I'm not sure. Or maybe show you around some other places. But I think that's a good break that we have those little, things from some of the spots that I've been. Kind of interesting. Well, let's go chat here. I'm going to run back to the top. And we'll do this for 20 minutes or so. Yeah, America Rocks. Who is checking the voters? Voting machines, dead people voting, illegals voting. And that's still a problem, but the real problem is this situation where the counts are being done by companies that are not American. They're not being done by the government itself. They've contracted the counts out with these foreign corporations. And one's in Belgium, another's in Great Britain, and then there are some others that I forget right now. But if you go to American intelligence media, Douglas Gabriel and Michael McKibben talk about that in their last 2 or 3 videos. And they do have the evidence for this. We'll just see what happens. Maybe nothing at all. We've sold ourselves down the river in so many ways. I understand. Mindy Patriot, yes, Ruth Gator Ginsburg is in the hospital. I didn't know that she had fallen and broken ribs. I didn't know. I just knew she was in the hospital. She needs to retire. I know they're appointed for life, and she's hanging on to try to help keep control of the Supreme Court. But man, there's got to be a way for the court to get rid of her. She's just her judgment is totally gone, if she ever had any. It's time to go. Truth always. This is a great exception. Trump is not going to save anyone. I don't disagree with you, but what I've told you is that Trump is the symbol of the Constitutional Republic, the Second American Revolution, the people wanting to write the Constitutional Republic, to get it going on the right course. He is the centerpiece. He is the symbolism of that movement. You're right, though. He can't do it all alone. He can't do it. I don't think he's a betrayer at all. I'm not saying that it couldn't go that way eventually, but I don't believe that. We're going to watch and see what happens. He's done the right thing by getting rid of Sessions. And he basically threw Acosta out, from the White House, which I said was a really good move. It's about time. And so hopefully we'll see some of these other things. He did have that meeting with a bunch of military people. It's been about a month ago, I think. And I don't think that was for foreign intervention of any type. At least I hope not. But we'll just have to wait and see. Do I want a military response in the U.S.? No. No, I don't want that. I don't want to see troops on the streets. But by the same token, when you have these types of desperation, this desperate times calls for desperate measures thing, we're going down the wrong road and we're going way too fast, and something needs to be done. So Trump needs to do it, and he needs to do it fast. Dallas Paquette, Trump was led by the fear of the MSM and did not lead as a commander. No, I think it's been more of he's trying to show his goodwill. He's trying to be patient. But yesterday we saw him lose his patience, and I think that needs to be more often at this point in time. Okay? Let's hope so anyway. Jack Kennedy, watch Black Pill's newest video, Who Really Lost Election? He says it was you and me. Yeah, Jack Kennedy. I'll have to go look at it. Yeah. No, that's what this whole broadcast today is about. We've been harmed. And we've been put in harm's way because of lack of action by, I hate to say it, President Trump and the Republicans, those responsible for securing our constitutional republic. Instead, we've been running around the world doing all these other things while in our own backyard, in our own home, we're being taken down. And I've said that from the beginning. You can't clean up somebody else's house until yours is cleaned up. And I'm very irritated about it. I'm very irritated about it. Of course, my irritation isn't going to fix it. But I've been screaming from the housetops about this from the beginning. Principles, not personalities, and take care of the corruption and the criminality and the treason and the duplicitousness in our own government. You can't clean up everything, okay? I'm not saying that. But, well, we're going to watch, okay? That's all we can do at this point. We're going to watch and we'll see. But election 2020 will be too late, Sean Hannity, Sarah Carter, Greg Jarrett, Jason Chaffetz. Be too late. Okay. I've got to address this. I knew it would be there. Chris Carcio. The Q-tards were certainly a factor in losing the House due to the complacency and slandering of real patriots like Alex Jones. Oh, you even mentioned me, Chris. Thanks. And Roy, I've said that right along. They've damaged badly our movement. Absolutely. The trust Sessions, trust Ray, trust Rosenstein, trust Kansas, all of that stuff, those were Clinton talking points. Those were Clinton's trite sayings to point us in the wrong direction. Thank God like many of you know, I started looking at that and I started wondering about things around Thanksgiving last year. But then, of course, by the DEFCON 1 deal, then I knew that actually being led around by the nose, that there was actually proof at that point that we were. Before it was, oh, maybe, what's going on here? Why did they say this? Why did they say that? This, okay, I know. Because I understand battle is fluid, intelligence is fluid, but when I saw that, then I knew. So Clinton put somebody in the wrong spot and said the wrong thing. But you're absolutely right. It's been a disaster. It's caused some infighting where we weren't paying attention. And the real patriots, people who've proven themselves over literally years, were put down by, and I'm not going to mention any names because I'm not going to get into that here, were put down by newbies who were doing it for fortune, fame, or to subvert the republic, for and in behalf of Clinton and her machine. Absolutely. So I'm not going to say any more about it after that. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else in here that you guys... something's going on. I must be missing a good conversation. I don't know why I always see Edelson James. Oh, Sarah. Hi, Sarah. I'm not sure who he's talking to. If there's a Sarah there, you're talking about Sarah Carter. I like Sarah Carter. There are people that accuse her of being a CIA agent. I don't know. Most people in the media are at least shadowed by the CIA, if nothing else. That doesn't mean she's bad, though. I see a lot of the good things that she does. Yeah, just Mimi, finest planet idiot, watch some AIM videos. Yeah, people, like I've said, they don't like Douglas and they don't like Betsy because of the religious thing and some other stuff. But put that aside. Go listen to their information. Nobody's 100% right, but I tell you, they've got some good stuff. They really do. Chris Garcia, fraud is the biggest factor. Owen Schroyer estimates we lost 10 seats in the House for sure. I'm kind of pissed at Trump for not taking election fraud seriously these last 2 years in censorship. 100% agree, Chris. You and I, 100% agree. He signed that executive order. What happened? Rhetoric on the ground. The rhetoric is not matching what's happening on the ground, and that's very troubling to me, and I've said those exact words now for almost 2 years. Denise J. Edelson James, hold your horses. Yeah, Montana, probably, just Mimi, huge fraud, New Jersey, Montana, California. But see, even if you can prove it, now the damage has been done on the propaganda end. Do you understand what I'm saying? The people believe that the election went this way, and even if you could absolutely 100% prove fraud and criminality, how is that going to be received by the people that voted for the leftist Marxist democratic agenda and people? All you're doing is kicking the can down the road. I realize that, but that's the problem. And that's why, as I agree, it should have been handled right away all along. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. Hard to believe America has elected not one but two Muslim women for Congress. Love to share videos, said that. I wasn't even aware of that, but you know what? That just shows you people think they're being open-minded, open-hearted, showing their multiculturalism and diversity. They are being summarily invaded using deceit. I guess they want their wives and their daughters to get female genital mutilation because they don't know. Either the American people are stupid or they've been talked to. Folks, pray and stay out of the way. I don't see this going well. And you're right. If anybody's going to save you, it's going to be yourselves. It's not going to be Trump. He can only set up the parameters, and then hopefully he follows through. And on these really important issues, it hasn't happened. I agree. Action. He lost the initiative, and the action hasn't been taken, and now we're bearing the fruit of that inaction and those attempts to placate the enemy. And yes, the MSM, the IC, the Democratic Party, leftist Marxists are the enemy. William Ayers said they were going to do this, 40 years ago, 30 years ago? And this is only the beginning of the plan. Saul Alinsky, Nobody talks about that in the mainstream media. Frankly, I haven't even heard President Trump explain all that. Maybe because he knows it's too far over the heads of most people. Well, it's time that they learn. Got to pull out the stops. This is very, very bad. Very bad. Trump does have leverage, Gorky 45, I realize that, but he's got to start using it. Oh, he's doing things behind the scene. Well, he didn't do anything about the election fraud, certainly not yet. Now, well, the election just happened. Okay, all right, well, let's see what happens next. Let's see if some things are brought out. But again, remember what I said a few minutes ago. You've lost the edge on the propaganda. People are going to feel like they're cheated now if they're told after the election that it's going on. He could have brought up the proof of the election fraud in 2016 to provide a basis for going forward with what happened this last Tuesday. I haven't seen anything about that. Have you? Okay. Just Mimi, AG Matthew Whitaker will neuter Rat Rosenstein. I hope so. And Mueller. I think Sessions should be charged with conspiracy. Conspiracy of what? Sedition. And probably other things, which I don't want to accuse him of here, but we all have some insight into that. And he's not the nice little old man that he appears to be. He isn't. Sean Hannity saying, "Oh, he likes him. He's actually a good man." No, he isn't. Good men don't do what he did. But that's their way of trying to keep their doors open for their contacts, I guess. I don't know. Or to try to be easy on, I liken Jeff Sessions to Alfred E. Newman of Mad Magazine. He's just spitting image of the dude, the cartoon character. That's right. Change it. I'm glad you brought that up. That's right. We have 2 months for the House committees to get to the bottom of everything that's happened. I agree. Maybe I jumped the gun on this thing with saying all the work of Nunes and Jordan has been trash canned. You're right, though. You're absolutely right. They have 2 months. They're lame at this point. They're lame duck basically at this point. But yes, the least that should happen, the very least, should be that Trump declassifies all of that stuff, just like Nunes and Jordan tried to get him to do. That at the very least to first of all, to show that they knew what they were talking about, right? To verify what they said publicly, number one. Number two, to identify the criminals in our government, okay? Because then that will give us a way to go forward with what these criminals like Schiff are going to try to do in the next little while. Actually, with what Nunes knows and all that, it could be the Schiff goes down with that information. And it needs to happen very, very soon. Very soon. Okay, let's see here. Congress, this is from KF Chow. Congress tried to get docs from DOJ. DOJ has everything they want to do with them. Yeah, I know. So we'll see what happens now with this new guy. If anything moves forward. There should be charges coming out of the DOJ like yesterday. Over the bus. Roy, California is no minor problem. Agreed. I don't even like going there anymore. I love the coastline. I love the culture by and large. There's so many neat things there, but no, California has gone down the tubes, and by design. It's sad. Peter Lemon, you're staying on the positive side. I'm going to quote you here. Good morning, Mr. Roy Potter. The next 2 years are going to be as powerful as President Trump's predestined to bring order to the executive, legislative, and now judicial branch. Like I said about what Sarah Carter, Sean Hannity, Jason Chaffetz, and Greg Jarrett said, it's always the next time. It's always the next time. It can be that way if those events start to happen now. The firing of Jeff Sessions and the put down of Acosta, good first start. But if those things don't continue, I wouldn't be too I just wouldn't bet on it. Not unless we see action up front. Yeah, Rosenstein needs to get the boot and criminally charged. And they need. Yeah, what's going on with Andy McCabe? Well, they put poor Paul Manafort in jail, but people like McCabe are still walking around. Ray needs to be investigated. He's been purposely stopping this as well. Okay. Holly Knight, yeah, you're saying that you can protect yourself against people surrounding your home. I agree. But you got to be careful how you do it. Calling the police is certainly the first order of business. But the mere fact that they do that, be real careful, though, how you respond to something like that. Because remember, they want to get you in trouble. I'm not saying not to protect yourself. Just be aware. Okay, let's see. AA get 8. I guess I'm not figuring out what that actually means, but this person says, no one is going to question Hillary, only in a dog and pony show. Well, that's how it's been. Matthew, oh man, I've already forgotten his name again. What's his name? Matthew Whitaker says that he would have prosecuted Hillary. She needs to be, absolutely. But remember, she is Satan's consort. Absolutely, 100%. Soros, the Rothschilds, Clinton, Obama. Tell you what, those four are a problem. Well, a lot of people will say some others, but let's keep it close to home. Rothschilds is actually going kind of out of the loop there, but Hillary needs to be collared. Absolutely, I agree. And by the way, because I think this has been slipping past everybody, now that Jeff Sessions is gone, what about John Huber, the Utah U.S. attorney that was put in by Jeff Sessions to look at all this in the FBI and the DOJ? Where is he right now? What's he doing? I told you a year ago over that John Huber, I'm not saying he's a bad guy, he is SES. I worked with John Huber. He's not a firework, much less a firecracker, much less one of those things that you step on and it goes pop. You know, a little paper thing, it's about that big and you step on it, it goes pop. The guy's never done anything of any value. A Utah U.S. attorney. So Huber is AWOL, just like Sessions was AWOL. Not missing in action. That means that they were trying to do something, they got taken out. They've been AWOL, absent without official leave. They've deserted. They're deserters. Sessions and Huber are deserters. Yeah, where's Huber? I remember seeing Tracy Beans. All this stuff was going on. People were saying, oh, this isn't happening. She goes, Huber, like Huber is some magic word and everything's going to get fixed up with Huber. No. Huber was put there to do what he's told, not to find out the truth of anything. Yeah, Sandra Odell, Feinstein is a criminal. She was part of the Jonestown cult. I talked about that, I don't know, maybe a month or two ago, that she knew Jim Jones, and then when all that stuff happened, she tried to distance herself from it. But yeah, she was in the real estate business and did a lot of stuff with him. Yeah, that's true. Shows you where her sympathies lie. Okay. I'm going to avoid the questions about any kind of reaction to all of this because it can be taken the wrong way. I'm just going to say it this way. Prep, pray, and stay out of the way. Take the precautions to defend yourself. You're not going to be able to take this thing on yourselves. Without the help of competent authority, and I have to put it that way, I've told you for a long time, you need to know who your county sheriff is, what side of the line that sheriff is on, what they're willing to do, if they're willing to use your help, all of those things. And some state governors. I mean, look at Governor Abbott of Texas. I'm not saying he's perfect, but he's done a lot of good things, and he's taken the right stand on so much. So there are those out there. But don't think about going out on your own. Even this stuff that's going on the border, I saw that there were some militia, for lack of a better term, some Americans arming themselves and going down to, be eyes and ears for the military. The military's got everything it needs, okay? When I did my estimate of what it would take to secure the border back in 2011, along with a good barrier, which has to have eyes on it all the time for it to be effective, I figured it would take somewhere around 10 to 12,000 troops to do that full time. And that's what we have on the border now. At least that's the latest information. That is what we're going to have. And that doesn't mean that somebody has to sit there all the time. They can use electronic surveillance devices, but they need quick reaction teams. They need, they're putting up concertina wires, a second barrier, great idea. Have kind of like a restricted or exclusion area in there, where it slows people down a little bit more, those types of things. So at any rate, they're doing it. I think they're doing it right, finally. Have reconnaissance patrols, pick up teams, that kind of thing. And I think that's how it's working. And like I say, I called for that back in 2000. It's almost like they're using my op plan that I put together. I didn't have a formal one, but I discussed it in my video. If you want to see it, it's Borders, Mexican Drug War or Insurgency ? And it's on this channel. I think it's actually in one of my playlists. Maybe not, but you can look it up. And they're basically doing everything I called for at that time. Okay. Yeah, Edelson James, I love Trump too. I can't believe that he put himself out there like this. That's why I don't want to criticize him, but I'm not being honest if I don't. If I'm not honest criticizing him about what I think he's doing bad, how will you believe me when I tell you he's doing good? Should you? If I'm not willing to call it, right? So yes, I do. I want him to succeed, because if he succeeds, if he's genuine, if he succeeds, then the Republic can succeed. I want that. I want it so much. I got kids. I got grandkids. Melinda Ann Burns. Roy, you have been right all along. Too little, too late. We are all in trouble. Sessions' work is done. Yeah, he for both of you. Melinda Ann Burns, thank you for saying that. It's not so much, it's just the military side of me. I've seen these things happen in scenarios elsewhere, so I could just see what the end result was going to be if we didn't do something. And then Bryce Canyon says Sessions' work is done. But it's not good. I hope you're not thinking that Sessions did what he needed to do, and now he's going to be, allowed to leave so that he can rest. That's not what. There are people out there saying that. That's not what's happened here. Sessions didn't hold the line until a certain period, and then get relieved and get his badge of honor for holding the line all by himself like a Medal of Honor winner. That is not what happened, if that's what you're suggesting. I don't know that that's what you're suggesting, but if it is, that's not what happened. His work was done for Clinton and for Bush. And Trump finally realized that the window of opportunity to get rid of Sessions had arrived. Okay? Yeah, you need to clean up California in order to clean up U.S. Yeah, that's Finest Planet 88. You write me a lot. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, and you're right. The old saying is that as California goes, so goes the rest of the nation. And very, very true. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Tony Blessetti. You get rid of Flakey and you end up with Romney. Romney is a problem. Very bad problem. He is going to rear his ugly head, and even though he's been passive-aggressive in the past, he's a snake in the grass. He's waiting to deliver his venom. Watch out. You're absolutely right. Watch out. Shooting first thing this morning. Whoa, what are you talking about? Love to share videos. Like I said, I got out, I went camping and all that. I couldn't stand to watch this. It was all I could do to bring myself to do this today. Love to share videos. What's shooting this morning? What are we talking about? In the meantime, Candace K., you're saying that, for your information, Trump is one of them. Again, I can't say that he's been wholeheartedly going down the road that he needs to. But the threats that have been made and the attacks that have been on him, I have to think he's not just playing us up. I'm worried about the panopticon. I'm worried about the 5G. I'm worried about the state surveillance. He hasn't repealed the NDAA bill, and I forget the number of it, but where they repealed the Smith-Mundt Act, where they can use propaganda on the American people and make it legal. He needs to change that. He needs to get rid of it, and he hasn't done that. Yeah, I know, but I don't think he's one of them. Okay. They thought he was one of them. You know, they put him on that tarot deck. They did some other things. They've talked about he acted like he was one of them. But he isn't, is the way I look at it. And his error is that he has lost the initiative, and he might be trying to get it back now. Okay, he doesn't need to just give us hope. He needs to show us action. Now, you know, I could talk about some things in the economy. I'm not so sure he's been given the right information on how good the economy is. I'm not even sure that's true, because when I look around, Salt Lake is supposed to be one of the great booming areas. You know, Utah, but particularly the Salt Lake area, Salt Lake County. You can't believe the number of businesses that are shut down around there. I could do an hour-long video of all the different places that have been shut down for various reasons. And they're not minor businesses. A lot of them are, but some of them are pretty substantial. So I'm not sure he's been given the right information on that. I'm not certain the economy is doing as, you know, the stock market's a false example of the economy. That thing's not really, you know, that's not really the real barometer of what the economy is doing. That can be messed with so easily. It's what you see on the street. It's how much you pay for your groceries, how much you pay for gas. The business down the street, whether its doors are open or whether they had to shut down, and a lot of them have shut down. I'm not blaming Trump. I'm saying that maybe he's not quite as knowledgeable on this as he might think he is, and that's because they could be feeding him bad information. He needs to get out. And he does. Actually, he gets out more than any president we've had. Look at all the rallies he's gone through the last 2-3 months. So he's been out there, but maybe a little more on the ground would be a good idea. Get those neocons out of there. Get some people in there, and the common people. And he's done that a little bit. He's had meetings with small business leaders and things like that. He needs more of that. He needs a lot more of that. People politically involved. I'd love to see Matt Bracken, for instance, in his White House. I'd love to see that. The Navy SEAL, Matt Bracken. I don't think Tony Schaefer would do it even if asked, but people of that caliber who've been out and done things, they know, they understand. You get rid of these lawyers and these deep state, liars and deceivers. Get some real good information. Get some new blood. Yeah. It boils down to a showdown. Harry Honkanen. Yeah, and it needs to happen sooner than later. Yeah, I know. Jabba Huttful. Trump right now killing, I don't know about millions. Millions have been killed, I guess, in Yemen. The Iran-Saudi proxy war in Yemen. Yes. We sell selling weapons to Saudi Arabia because it's good for our economy. Ugh. That's bad karma. I've been against the Yemen thing. I've been against the Syria thing. We have too many things going on in Africa. I realize where they're trying to stop the Chinese, but man, bad stuff happening there. Yet he's had some success with North Korea. Yeah, I know. The military is a necessary evil. It shouldn't be glorified. We need to thank those who have sacrificed, but I've used a quote from Cicero often. I don't have it handy with me right now. Actually, maybe I do. Let me just see. It might take me a minute here. Pardon me for doing this. But Cicero was a Roman statesman and philosopher, and I've quoted him before. And this is necessary, I think. Let me just see if I've got it here. Usually I carry it, and I think it's worth quoting since this has come up, because I don't like our militarism. I don't like when I watch a football game and they constantly, glorify the military. And it's gotten so now, they're having these different military things where they show people, our soldiers in combat, obviously, shooting their weapons as if they're killing people, and they're glorifying that. That's bad. That's bad. These things are a necessary evil. They should never be held in that kind of esteem. The sacrifices, yes, but it's going too far into this other business, and I don't like it. Well, I can't seem to find it here, and I'm sorry, I don't want to take a lot of time. But basically, he says that kind of courage which is done to further injustice is not courage at all. As a matter of fact, people that do that should be loathed. Basically, he said that. Yeah, Batterista. Well, where are you from? That's an interesting, because you say the amount of cowardice in your judiciary and law enforcement is extraordinary. Oh, it's more than just cowardice. It's deceit, it's criminality, a lot of things. I did a whole series on FBI corruption, and all of that was substantiated over the last year with the things that have been coming out about the Russia investigation and the dossier and the FISA warrants and all of that. And if they'll do that to the president and his people, what are they doing to the American people? Yes, and overseas too, everywhere. Yes, it's a disaster. Wow, we've been going over an hour here. Let me go through this last little bit and see if there's anything here that I know I should hit. I'd love to address all of you, but I like to try to hold it to not more than an hour and 15 minutes or so. Michael Powell, somebody just brought up that there was a shooting this morning. You're saying in California, sounding to me like a possible assassination of the LV massacre witnesses, just hours from the midterms. I must be missing something here. Like I said, I went out camping. I just couldn't stand to see this because I knew where it was going, and I just couldn't stand it. So I'll see if I can find out about that. But see, that's what I'm saying. Because of the inaction of the president, and that's what it was, inaction to try to do this thing in a political manner. People like Tucker Carlson are getting attacked. Regular Trump supporters are getting attacked. He had the LV shooting. We still don't know about that. They're able to figure out this bomber, right, that was obviously a setup, right, in his van with all of his stickers and everything. Oh, they figured that out real quick because they knew about it. That was something that they put in motion. But the LV shooting where some 60 people are killed and all those wounded, and we still don't know. Trump needs to get on that, and he needs to tell this new AG, hey, uncover this information. The American people need to know the evil that they're standing up to. He needs to do that. Yes, it's going to disrupt our country, but it's going to get destroyed if he doesn't do that. So, please tell us something good. Ladybug Nancy, I appreciate that. Something good. Well, I kind of did that a few days ago when I told you about Bill Still's vision. He had an open vision. If you haven't watched the Still Report, you need to go do that. Bill Still, the Still Report on YouTube. And he had an open vision during some voting. It didn't happen Tuesday. It was in early voting that he went to. And he actually saw the angels. And I don't want to preempt what he said. Go look at it. It's called Warring Angels. Go look at that. And there is good news. I have a firm, for a lot of reasons, I have a firm understanding and a firm, not just mere belief, but knowledge of, I can't say I know God, but you play with those things a little bit. You got to be careful how you say it. Of spiritual things, let's say that. Of those who were here and are gone and know they're not demons. Oh, some are, of course. There are those who will say, well, anytime you have contact with the person on the other side, it's always a demon. No, that's not true. There's always extenuating circumstances, and you have to look at everything as a whole, with some awareness, with some knowledge. Sometimes you have to put faith on hold and use reason and logic. It just depends on the situation. But at any rate, Bill still saw this open vision, saw some angels, and how concerned they were about where America is going and the evil that is being promulgated by people like Hillary Clinton and the leftist Marxists. Yeah, and so go look at that, because that'll tell you that there are those who are watching over us and are concerned with what's happening, and that is good news. And there's a wonderful connection there that I'm not going to get into today, but there's a wonderful connection there that's a great promise. This is interesting. Craig Cloffer, Venice was 80% underwater this last week. That's a typical thing, just so you know. It happens every this time of year, October, November. The tides change, and the water flows, and Venice floods at least once a year, sometimes twice. Usually this time of year, and then again, I think it's about in April or so. So that's normal. That's not like climate change or some spectacular supernatural phenomenon or anything like that. It's by clockwork. Every year they have a flooding, at least in the fall, and then sometimes also in the spring. Okay. All right. Well, we've been going for an hour and 12 minutes. And I'd love, there are a lot of good comments here. I'd love to go through all of them. Let me just say that I appreciate you all being here. Yeah, Romeo and Juliet Stomping Ground. Yeah, Verona, Italy. That's exactly right. I wanted to show they have a place there when you go. This is the balcony where Romeo talked to Juliet. I'm sure it really isn't, but it was kind of cool being there. Matter of fact, I'll tell you a little story. I went to Catholic school for a while when I was younger, and we were reading Shakespeare, and I think we were supposed to be reading Macbeth or Hamlet or one of those, but it was a book with all the Shakespeare stuff in it. And, I'm thumbing through it, and I see Romeo and Juliet, a love story. Oh, I was maybe 12 or 13, something like that. And I go, Romeo and Juliet, well, I'm supposed to be reading Macbeth. So here I am, and I'm looking at Romeo, and this is in class, with the nun walking around, right? I'm reading Romeo and Juliet. It tells you where my mind was even then, right? Well, I didn't see her, but she came up behind me and she looked at my book and she knew what I was doing. And I had the book in my hands like this. I don't know if you can see me holding the book. It's like this, right? She had a ruler. And she whacked my knuckles with it really hard. I mean, you could hear that thing sounded all through the room, and everybody looked up wanting to know what was going on. And of course, I reacted by dropping the book and holding my hand. And she grabbed me under the chin. She pulled my chin up like that and looked right at me and said something. I don't remember exactly how it was, but something like, "That is not your assignment. Read the correct assignment." Something like that. So, yeah, Romeo and Juliet has a real near and dear place in my heart. And it was nice that I was able to take my dear Carol there. That was really wonderful at the time. Yeah, the nuns love their rulers, Mindy Patron Angel. You sound like from first-hand experience. I don't think they do that anymore. But yeah, boy, back then they sure did. Yeah, instead of encouraging reading, she whacks you. Well, but she was right. I was not doing the assignment that was given, and I could have read it later because we took our books with us. We had my book bag. I carried my books. It must have weighed 30 pounds, so I could have read it later. Instead, I was doing it there. Shooting in California. Okay, we need to find out more about that. Circle the wagons. And more of this is going to happen. I've been predicting this. I've been telling you. I've been trying to warn. President Trump had to grab this and go after Maxine Waters, Feinstein, Pelosi, Schumer, Nadler, Holder, Lynch, and yet they want to sit there and say that Donald Trump is dividing the people because he's saying that the Democrats are bad. It's prima facie evidence that the Democratic leftist Marxists are bad. I don't want to have to point fingers, and I've listened to other videos where people have said this is all just, it's all theater again. It's the politicians playing each side. No, this is different this time. This election really was different. This time period really is different. We do have a division, and I've talked about it many times in this country, in the world really, but in this country, okay? We are having a division, and there's an unbridgeable gulf between these two ideologies, and one is willing to kill you to silence you. They're trying to do it by taking away your First and Second Amendments and your Fourth Amendments, but they will kill you if they can't get what they want. I'm telling you, that's where we are. I'm not stroking the Republicans, because God knows they've been in on this by and large. The rhinos, they've been in on this, okay? But I'm talking about real principle. The conservative Republican, conservative constitutional republic form of government where the perfect law of liberty reigns, not this tyranny that we have. But that leftist Marxist side, that's what they want. They've changed rights from being able to speak your mind and own a gun and be secure in your possessions. They've changed those. They say those aren't your rights anymore. It's whether or not you want to decide to be a man or a woman, or whether your kids want to decide to be male or female, or any number of other sexes. That's how this has changed, and it's gotten us all messed up. We're in very, very bad times. The enemies are unmasking, but are we willing to call them out? Are we willing to call evil for what it is? Or are we going to do what the scriptures say, and we will join the chorus and say evil is good and good is evil? God, I pray I don't. Okay, we're going to go. Thanks for coming today. I appreciate that. I know it's a little different. A lot of them are different lately. But at any rate, prep, pray, stay out of the way. Keep your situational awareness on high. You can see what's going on. Remember Tucker Carlson and now this horrible thing in California, which I'll have to unfortunately go look at. Vicki Davis. Oh, I missed you. I guess you're here. Vicki Davis is great. Go to her, the technocratictyranny.com, and look at her stuff. She's really good. She's been on this program a couple of times. So at any rate, yeah, a lot of crazy things happening. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears to the ground. God bless you. God bless yours. God bless the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America and the Second American Revolution. Let's pray and hope that, I don't know what's happened now. We've had so many of these horrible attacks, and very little's being done. We're not being told the truth about them, even with the Trump administration in there. It's being hidden. But I hope that I would hope that no one was hurt in California, but of course I imagine there were. This is wrong. God bless Donald Trump and all of his righteous endeavors. And may the Spirit of the Lord descend upon him and give him the spirit of discernment that will come upon him as the dews from heaven, that he will know the right from the wrong and have the courage to do the right thing. There is no waiting anymore, ladies and gentlemen. You got to tell him his wisdom is not working, and thinking that he can deal with this thing in the manner that he has been, being patient and essentially losing the initiative, and then having all of his supporters harmed. No. It's time to call evil out for what it is and not mince our words. So until next time, not sure, of course, when that exactly will be, but we will get around to it again sometimes in the next few days. You might see me pop up on one of my impromptus, possibly. So let's give our prayers and our thoughts and our hearts to anybody who was harmed there in California, or any other people, even Tucker Carlson for what he had to endure here the other day. Okay. See you next time.